Samantha, and welcome to the TNA Post Show. As always, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the star of the show. He's the one and only Burt Macklin.
How's it going?
It's going good. We had quite the show. But before we get into this, we just want to remind our viewers that Burt and I will not be covering Explosion, unfortunately, until it returns to its two-match format with one match and around the ring. It doesn't give us a lot to talk about, which is unfortunate, you know?
Because one match really can't make that big of an explosion. That would be like a small firecracker. We need at least two matches.
Exactly. All right, let's kick things off talking about tonight's main event, which was to determine the number one contender for Nick Nemeth at Bound for Glory. It was Joe Hendry versus Frankie Kazarian. Now, Frankie Kazarian and Joe Hendry are no strangers to each other. The last time they fought, Frankie Kazarian got the win, but that's because he cheated.
Yeah, the only at first I was kind of hoping that it was just going to lead to a triple threat, but then I bet I could see people getting upset just because if Bound for Glory is the biggest show of the year, a triple threat kind of isn't as special as a one-on-one match. But yeah, I did like the restarting of the match. It was so funny when Kazarian cheated. Like when he's putting the brass knucks on, you hear Nemeth go, well, no one's watching it. So at first I thought he wasn't going to say anything, but I thought the ending of this match was very fun.
Oh, yeah. I thought so too, because we had a false finish. Frankie Kazarian used those brass knuckles on Joe Hendry. And whatchamacallit? But Nick Nemeth stopped him. Like, he got the ref's attention. Let's see, Joseph Bosser said that, and people want Joe to have his crowning moment where it's surgery or TNA. He filled in July at No Mercy in Denver versus Ethan Page. I definitely do think they should strike where the iron's hot and crown Joe Hendry. We have seen Joe Hendry become serious. He got the biggest win of his career when he defeated Josh Alexander by making him tap out at Victory Road. So I'm all for Joe Hendry winning the TNA World Title at Bound for Glory. You?
Yeah, but again, I just think I'm almost at this kind of in this whole gambling thing of rolling the dice with how far they can push not having him be the champion and see how over he can be. Because in my opinion, I would maybe just because I have a soft spot and I think Kazarian's doing some of the best work of his career, I would have rather seen Kazarian win tonight than win the title. And then have just Joe beat him, just because I guess, and I just Joe versus Nick doesn't. I don't know. I just don't think there's any heat to that, other than people wanting to see Joe Hendry becoming the champion. The only thing I can think of is if another person screws Joe Hendry, and I think, and I obviously we'll talk about it later down the line, especially if they do something with it before. I think an easy possibility could have JBL making an appearance and screw Joe Hendry, cost him the win for Nemeth, just to get some sort of heel turn or heat. Because as of right now, it is babyface versus babyface. But of course, I
said.
Okay, sorry.
That's what I said last week. I said if you want to turn Nick Nemeth heel, what do? You have JBL go out there, cost Joe Hendry the match, and have Nick Nemeth pretend like he had no idea JBL was going to go out there, but in reality, he knew.
That's perfect. Yeah, I really do like that.
Yeah, so overall, I thought this was a fantastic main event. I'm so happy for Joe Hendry. Everybody who watches this knows that I believe in 252 pounds of pure motivation, the answer to all our life's problems. I believe in Joe Hendry. But speaking of which, Frankie Kazarian mocked Joe Hendry during this match, doing the whole,
Because, like I said, Kazarian's doing some of his best work as a heel, so I was at first kind of hoping that he would have won the match and they wouldn't have overturned it. But the thing I liked about the end of this is it was kind of like a real, almost like an NBA, NFL situation where the original ref didn't see it. You have almost Nemeth draw attention to it, but then you have the almost like the outside ref who comes and corroborates Nema's story that, yeah, something didn't happen. And then Santino finally comes out, ultimately making the call like you would see like in the NFL that it comes from up above, in the booth. So I did like that aspect of it. It felt like a real sport feel.
Definitely, I agree. But like I said, overall, fantastic main event.
This show, I was going to say, this show was so good. Again, like, I feel like I said this the last couple weeks, but this show was so good, and it wasn't even just about the main event, as we're going to talk. There were so many, because this wasn't even my favorite moment of the night.
It was a really good show. Next, let's talk about the in-ring debut of Lei Ying Lee. Say that fast 10 times. Versus Hyan. And I have to say, like, TNA did more to showcase Lei Ying Lee in one day than WWE did for Xia Li. I mean, she looked like a star. She's definitely has a bright future ahead of her in TNA. I could definitely see her being Knockouts champion. I cannot wait to see what she does in the division. Hyan herself is a fantastic talent. We've seen Hyan before. I don't understand why TNA hasn't signed her yet, but this was great in-ring debut. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
When you started talking, I went to go look at my phone to pull up the comment that I had wrote in one of the group chats about this when it happened. But then I turned up as soon I looked up and started smiling as soon as you started talking and saying your point. And this is why I'm glad I'm a co-host a show with you, because we think so similar on so many things. I said the exact fucking same thing in my group chat. I said it took one match to making me interested in Ying Lee. This is what TNA does. They see value where others don't. They take the talent and maximize their potential. This shit ain't new. Like, really, one match. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like, I don't have it in front of me, but I feel like Xia Li was in NXT for a very long time, and I feel like I only saw like a handful of matches in a few years. And you know what I mean? That's a lot of time to get me interested in a new character, and they failed to do it. And like we just said, one match. You know what I mean? It's the commentary, it's the presentation. It has a lot to do with the way the knockouts are booked, and so that the fans are going to give more of a shit about it. You know what I mean? Because the knockouts are one of the cornerstones of the company. So yeah, just this whole thing felt really big time.
It did, and the fans were into it. They were cheering for her.
Yeah, this was awesome. This Definitely. Is one of my favorite moments of the night. This was great.
I love Xia Li. She was with WWE from 2017 to 2024. She was in NXT from 2017 to 2021. Xia was in NXT when they kept telling they were too long, to the point they overstayed their welcome. Oh, okay. But yeah, like Bert said, in one match, TNA got us interested in her. They did such a great job.
And when I say, and it's almost like anybody who maybe when they heard that Xia Li, like let's just say somebody is a WWE fan, NXT fan, they kind of and then they kind of just like don't watch TNA, scoff at TNA, and then when they wrote Xia Li off the, like when they got rid of WWE, got rid of her, and the fans maybe wrote her off and like, oh, she's going to TNA, okay, whatever. Then they obviously don't watch TNA, because again, if you just started watching TNA this year, you might have heard of someone named Top Dollar, who's AJ Francis now, who's a complete star. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's not like you have to been watching TNA long to trust them that they're going to get the most out of her. And already she already feels like a star.
Good point bringing up AJ Francis. I was actually just about to mention that. Look at AJ Francis. When he came into TNA, people were still calling him Flop Dollar, and I think they were like making fun of the fact that he actually signed with TNA, or that TNA signed him. Look what TNA has done for him. He's such an incredible heel. He's doing a really good job. Like, I like his character. I like AJ Francis.
And I see a lot of praise going to like the first class gimmick in terms of like the outside star power that he's able to bring in, from outside interests, in different forms of media like music, you know what I mean? So like when he brought DJ Who Kid in, so it's like, yeah, we took a sidetrack, but yeah, AJ Francis is a perfect example of somebody that they took that had kind of a dark cloud over them in WWE for whatever reason. And a lot of the times, most of the times, it's WWE not using them right, and then just kind of casting them off. And like again, TNA, and you just saw what I think it was Joe that said how long she was there for. Like that's a long time to not be able to figure out something with somebody.
Mm-hmm. I've been called AJ's twin, and based on your picture, I could see why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm so excited. She definitely has a bright future in TNA. I cannot wait.
Yes.
All right. So tonight's Impact kicked off with some knockouts action. We had the knockouts tag team. We had a knockouts tag team title match. It was Wendy, Choo, and Rosemary versus Jordynne Grace and Soul Ruca. So I have to say, Wendy, Choo, and Rosemary are a great team. I really like how they vibe well together here. Jordynne Grace and Soul Ruca were also doing a good job. This match ends pretty much in a DQ because Tasha Steelz, who has unfinished business with who was sent out there to attack Jordynne Grace by the system. And then, Masha came out because she's got unfinished business with Tasha, and then we're getting a six knockouts tag match. So this was good. I like this.
Knockout's getting a lot of love this show. This is now I realize this is the second match, and there's still one more. But yeah, I'm a huge Sol Ruca fan. I watch NXT regularly now, and this was just I really like this. And then again, I don't know if I think I might have missed it, but I saw on Twitter that she was the ex Ariana Grace was there to introduce her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a perfect fit. But Sol Ruca I'm glad that they used her just because I hope that the audience saw her athleticism if they don't watch NXT and just saw how perfect she fits TNA. This was a really fun match.
Okay, I will say, I don't watch NXT regularly. Everybody here knows I don't watch NXT regularly because I always I'd be watching wrestling 6 days a week.
Yeah.
But I have seen Sol Ruca perform, not live, but I have seen him perform. I really liked her match against Kalani Jordan, so she's definitely is an incredible talent. And I think she would make a fantastic knockout.
Get her and Kalani Jordan in an Ultimate X match.
Let me see. I know Havoc and Rosemary have been DK, but he agrees with me. Rosemary and Wendy worked well together. Not surprised by the ending of the match. She took Jordynne to the limit for the TNA Knockouts Championship. She could have been Jordynne. Ooh, okay. So next we get a Frankie Kazarian interview, and he's basically talking about how he's going to beat Joe Hendry, and it's going to be sweeter because he's going to go on to face Nick Nemeth, and that everybody has to acknowledge the fact that he is the king of TNA.
Yes. I love this whole Kazarian gimmick. Those glasses look so cheap, too. Those glasses reminded me of the ones that Edge and Christian wore back in the Attitude Era. Especially the ones that Christian wore where they were really big and silver. Like, they look so cheap. Heels are supposed to dress like that. This was perfect.
It was. We'll talk about that when we get to Joe Hendry's promo. So next you get Jonathan Gresham versus Laredo Kid. This was a great match, a great showcase of the X Division. I like the fact that commentary mentioned the fact that since Jonathan Gresham was trying to pull off Laredo Kid's mask, what if that octopus is coming out? So again, are we getting a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing here with Jonathan Gresham?
And now almost I like this better than the original idea of when he was like in the therapy and he just outward came out was I like how we're seeing he was the octopus for a little bit. He stopped. And now the commentary team is almost leaving breadcrumbs for us to follow. You know what I mean? To kind of pick up on. This is very good shit. And Laredo Kid's very underrated. He had like a short run as digital media champion, but he's someone that I think, if he stays in TNA, he should get a run with the X Division title. He's very good.
I have to agree with you. He had such a short run as digital media champion. I felt so bad for him. And I agree, he's very underrated. They showcase back when Black Taurus was in TNA, they showcased him more than they did Laredo Kid. So I really hope that they start to showcase Laredo Kid more. She did an homage to Eddie Guerrero with the three amigos. They were in San Antonio. Eddie Guerrero, I know he wasn't from San Antonio, but they were still in Texas. So I really dug that.
This was another fun match.
Yeah. Jonathan Gresham gets the victory by submission. So next we get Mike Santana presumably attacking the system in their locker room. And then later on, he cuts like a promo where he said every member of the system is going to feel his pain, his agony. He's not going to fear no man, no evil. And he's basically just going to take out every member of the system, I guess, until he cuts off the head of the snake, which is Moose.
Speaking of Mike Santana, I had said in one of my group chats, and I've been watching TNA since 2009, and I know they've been around since 2002, but I know of the rosters throughout the years, and to me, and I think there's a lot of ways that you can judge a roster. If you have like a couple top stars, like 2 mega stars, and then like a bunch of really good, solid people around them, you could definitely say that's a really good, deep roster. But to me, when I'm looking at this TNA roster, it's so deep in the terms of like Santana's like another person that's like, oh, he could be world champion. You know what I mean? Like this roster is so deep with people who are like top guys, and top women in the, you know what I mean? And they're getting there in that division. But like in terms of the main event scene, like right now it's loaded. Like there are a lot of people that, like I said, that you could make an argument that if they put the title on, it would make sense. And Santana's one of them.
Santana doing some fantastic work since he came back to TNA. So I'm really digging it. I definitely would want him to be world champion. It's just like you said, there's so many people that could be world champion. We don't know where he falls in line.
And you know what? Him being a world champion in TNA, it is almost like completing like a story that it's not like was ever like talked about or like has ever like been clarified. But when LAX was very over, when they left AEW, it wasn't like the fans turned on. The TNA fans loved them and hoped that they would someday come back. Well, they didn't come back to the team, but Santana came back, and that was the right decision because he is a part of LAX still, even if it's not a team anymore. So he's very over since he's come back. And so him winning a world title there would almost be like any time you see somebody break out for a tag team and he just happens to be coming back to do it in a company he's had a lot of success as a team. So I hope he becomes world champion.
Me too. All right, next we get a 6-man tag match. It's ABC and Zachary Wentz versus Kushida, Leon Slater, and Speedball Mike Bailey. Another X Division showcase match. This was fantastic. Leon Slater reminding us all that we're getting older because apparently he turns 20 September 27th. My back ached a little bit when I heard that.
Yeah, I think I just got a few more gray hairs since I just turned 38, and like that made me very sad.
I mean, I'm going to be 32, and I'm like, what, maybe 8-9 years older than him, but still, like, I'm closer to 35 than he is to 25.
We need to get Leon Slater versus Javon Evans.
Oh, yeah, that would be a great match.
Those are like, it's just funny. These companies mirror each other so much, and each company's got like a young prodigy who's barely out from being a teenager. I think you just said that Leon Slater just turned 20.
He's gonna be 20, I think they said.
Yeah, and I think Javon Evans is still 19. You know what I'm saying? So, or he's 20. But yeah, they both have these two guys that are going to be the future of their companies. And even if they don't stay in their company, they're the future of wrestling. But yeah, I really want to see that match.
Same, definitely. ABC and Zachary Wentz getting the win here with Wentz hitting the UFO cutter on Leon Slater. I have to say, Zachary Wentz meshed really well with ABC. If he wasn't in the tag team with the Trey Miguel, I definitely wouldn't mind them being A to Z.
And we'll have to come up with well, if anything, I would go the cheap way, the easy way, and just add together. I could see Rascal Club shirts. Bullet Club shirts just print money, and if you put Rascal Club on one of them, I would buy that shirt.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, exactly. You put that on a shirt, it's going to print money. But it's funny, I do like how, and we're talking about the roster, I like how Wentz was on the team of ABC, because if you include Trey, who wasn't in the match, I think those are four of the next guys that 2025, 2026, that's the main event scene. You know what I mean?
Just saying, Zach cut a heartfelt promo Tuesday on NXT. Wes decided to say, make sure your fiance Gigi Dolan ain't watching. Bert, since you watch NXT, did you watch that?
Yeah, I'm glad he just mentioned that, because that's part of the reason why. Because at first I was just kind of having ABC and Trey ready to move up in the main event scene. But this promo that Zach cut and his work lately, yeah, he's ready too. That was one of the best promos I think I've ever heard him cut. I don't think I've heard him cut too many promos. You know, a lot of like the jokes in the trios, but this was a serious babyface fire promo. This was really good shit, and this made that is one of the best match. I don't know what show that is that going to be on the premiere of the CW, that match?
I believe so.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to talk about that one, because that's going to be a very, very. This almost reminds me similar to Gargano and Ciampa's feud. You know what I mean? This is a friendship that's come crashing and burning down, and this is must-watch shit. So yeah, this was a good promo.
Justice said yes. West versus Zach is to stay in Chicago as part of the premiere. Oh, okay, cool. Maybe I'll actually check it out. We'll see.
Yeah, anytime. I think NXT, when there's a match on the end of the show, I think it's definitely worth watching, because I was going back to the Wendy, Choo, and Rosemary match. I'm not the biggest Wendy Choo fan, but I think her and Rosemary. I think that this is the best, because when her and Tatum were teaming up, I kind of could see it. For her and Rosemary make a lot of sense, and would be very, very cool to see the Knockouts titles represented by one person from each company. That would be very awesome. I kind of want to see Rosemary and Wendy Choo win the Knockouts titles now.
And I even said last week Spitfire should go to NXT and defend the Knockouts tag titles over there, since we don't have a Knockouts tag team division anymore. I mean, we're getting there. We're slowly rebuilding.
We're going to talk about that in a second, because that when we get there, that was probably my second favorite segment of the night, because we're going to get there. I like how you mentioned that.
Okay, so we're going to just talk about the Leon Slater segment, since we're on Leon Slater. I really like the fact that that he tried to apologize to Speedball because he let the team down, but Mike Bailey tells him not to apologize, and that he's the future of the X Division. I definitely do agree with Mike Bailey. He's the future of the X Division.
And I'm hoping he breaks Amazing Red's record, just because it's not like records need to stand. It'd be cool if he carried the record, for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? He should definitely, because TNA should definitely should try to keep him. You can't keep somebody forever, but for the next 5 years, if they can keep him and, really build something with him, he's going to be big time.
Definitely, I agree. Okay. So next we get Hammerstone and Jake something. Hammerstone is training Jake something here. He's like having him lift the weights. And then Diener interrupts and was kind of like, what the heck is going on here? And I really like the fact that Jake something tells Jake Diener that he's sick of being a failure because he made all he's sick of being a failure, he's sick of Diener, and he's sick of the people. Remember, like, I honestly thought that Cody Diener's the people choice gimmick was actually going to lead him to turning heel because, I mean, look what the people got him involved in. But basically, Hammerstone challenges Diener to a match. And I really like the fact that he says that him and something, they're winners. I definitely do see them taking over the tag team division.
This was good shit from Team Steak and Eggs. This reminds me of that Family Guy. This reminds me of that Family Guy where those two bald guys, like they're working out with those old timey weights. Yeah, no, team protein powder, team creatine. This team is money, and I like how finally Jake something's saying what we've all been saying. He is sick of losing. And I like a team when a team comes together and basically you could say the gimmick is who's gonna beat this team? Look at these guys. You know what I mean? Look at them. They should put the tag team titles on them soon. And the reason I think they should is because, as we keep saying, the main event scene is too deep. And while Hammerstone and arguably Jake something could be there, they don't need to overcrowd it any more than it is. You know what I mean? Because that would be too many people that they're trying to build for the world title. They need something for Jake something and Hammerstone to do. So putting them in the tag division is very smart. Very, very smart.
I agree. As much as I complained about it initially, because I was like, you just got Jake something out of a tag team. Now you're putting him back in a tag team. But this was good. I like this.
Because it fits. It fits. You know what I mean? It just works. It's almost like when... Almost like when Sheamus and Cesaro became a team. I wasn't the biggest Bar fan, but it really worked as a team. Yeah, it worked. These guys work as a team.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's great. I hope they win tag titles.
I definitely do too, and it's almost because I'm like Wikipedia. Like I think these would be the biggest champions that have won the belts. You know what I mean? Like these guys. Who's gonna beat these guys? That's what I'm looking forward to. Like Hannah Fam going like, who's gonna beat these guys? These guys are powerhouse. Just a segment of them working out. This is like an '80s segment. You know what I mean? Just lifting weights.
All right. So we talked about the debut of Lei Ying Lee, and we talked about the Leon Slater segment. So let's jump ahead to the ABC promo / segment. So they basically talk about how they want their rematch against the system. But they're interrupted by none other than the Hardy Boys, or the Hardys. And the Hardys basically let them know that they want those tag titles because they defeated the system. However, to them, it doesn't matter if it's ABC or if it's the system. They want those tag titles. And I do think that this storyline that we're telling is going to culminate at Bound for Glory with the Hardys facing and taking the tag titles off the system.
The Hardys need to run. While I understand it, I get it. I'm not going to complain. I just don't think that they're long for TNA. So I just don't want them to have to drop them all of a sudden in like a panic angle where they have to figure something out. You know what I mean? But it's fine. You know what I mean? I also don't mind the system's second run not being that long. They were champions for a good time. You know what I mean? So it was like 100 and something day. You know what I mean? So the Hardys getting a short run. I'm fine. Let's just hope that they put a young team over after. That's all I care about. It doesn't have to be. I don't necessarily need to see them have ABC beat them for the titles, even though that would kind of cement ABC as that next great TNA team. You can maybe definitely start adding them to the likes of America's Most Wanted, the Machine Guns, Beer Money, stuff like that. I mean, teams like that. But other than that, if the Hardys win, the ultimate goal needs to be them especially if they were able to drop the titles, putting over somebody. Because you're right, they're gonna win.
Joseph said he's with you. He thinks that they are intimidated that he wants to sign them to one more contract, like a farewell tour. I definitely do think that if the Hardys win, they're definitely going to hold on to those tag titles, at least until Hard to Kill, where I could see them dropping the titles.
And didn't Matt Hardy allude to a little bit ago, like making a trip to NXT? Because unless I'm imagining, I remember seeing Matt Hardy reference that they've never won the NXT titles. You know what I mean? They just if someone asked them if they could pop up in NXT or something like that. And I definitely think if they do win the titles, we'll get something. We'll get them having an appearance there with the titles. Just because, if you're going to send anybody to NXT with gold, why not it be the Hardys? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do think they're going to win the titles, but I'm really more concerned because who they put over, that potentially they could be a made team.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Joseph says, yeah, Matt did say he wanted for him and Jeff to hold his first set of tag titles, and that has alerted them to the NXT tag title. Okay. So next, we get a Josh Alexander in-ring segment. And this was an interesting segment because it seemed like he was really having a change of heart based on his actions. And he even got Eric Young to go out there. But it was all just a trick because Sinner and Saint came out and they attacked Eric Young. And then Steve Macklin came out and he got attacked too. He got hit with the C4 spike by Josh Alexander. Now, remember last week, Josh Alexander was talked to Sinner and Saint and said that if they ever needed guidance or advice, to go to him. I actually really like this pairing. I don't know if we'll get a Team Canada 2.0 because I don't know if Team Canada would be the same without Scott D'Amore. But I like this because I feel like the tag team division is a little stacked, just like the main event scene. And I feel like Sinner and Saint would have maybe not seen that they wouldn't have done anything, but I feel like it gives them something to do, being in a stable with Josh Alexander.
This is my first of my two favorite segments of the night. This was fucking awesome. Just because we called this, we asked for this. We said this last week. This is kind of what we wanted to see. And I like how everything worked out how we said. He turned kind of on Eric Young. Sinner and Saint came out, attacked them. We can brainstorm. I'm lazy. I like just to combine names. Maybe the Walking Saints. I don't know. The Walking Sinners. But then we got to combine. We can't have all three, so we got to figure out something. But yeah, I really like this because this is in the classic of you get the established guy, the two guys backing him up, Team Angle. We're seeing this with American Made. What do you call it? Legacy. This is good shit. I love teams like this.
Same. It's gonna be good. I cannot wait to see.
Yeah, who better to teach and take under his wing? To teach him how to be stars in TNA than the guy, Josh Alexander. You know what I'm saying? Stick with him. You know what I mean?
The longest reigning TNA World Champion in history.
And that's why I believe in Joe Hendry. And I want him to world champion because I want to be able to talk about that on the show with you. But I think that while I think this is Josh's best character right now, he's so good as a heel. He is such a prick. He gets heat when he's out there. Just because it's almost like truly one of those things where he's completely lying. The fans never turned on him. So he's just out there talking shit to them. You know what I mean? Because in his eyes, they did turn on him because they didn't do enough. He is justified in his. I can't wait for their promo next week. I hope they come in wearing suits and sunglasses.
Who wears sunglasses indoors?
Heels. Look, heels always wear sunglasses when they come out.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait. I think this is gonna be a fun faction with Josh Alexander, Sinner, and Saint. So next we get a Steph Delander segment, and she's trying to become Santino Morales' assistant here, even though Santino Morales is telling her to like go home. And we also find out that at Bound for Glory, it's gonna be Matt Cardona versus PCO in a Monsters Ball match.
So that means we get the Thursday before them getting locked up, right?
I guess so. Is that legal?
Or no, will they say 24 hours before? Will they no food, no water? Which sounds barbaric. Yeah, I don't know if that is illegal.
Yeah, I question, is that legal?
Yeah, I agree with that.
But imagine Steph Delander being Santino's assistant while she recovers from neck surgery. I would like that. I think that would be really fun.
That would be fun. And I was a little upset when he turned her down because I much rather keep her on TV for the rest of the time because she was signed through the year and now she's hurt. So I'd rather keep her on TV at least.
Same.
Like real quick, if anything, she should be PCO's manager going forward, right? She could at least be, you know what I mean, or talk for it, you know what I mean? Like at least do something with this.
Mm-hmm.
They are married in storyline. They could keep it going, you know what I mean?
That's true. All right. Next we get Heather Reckless versus Xia Brookside. So remember last week, Heather Reckless wanted Ash by Elegance to watch this match, which she does. She comes out, to watch this match. Heather Reckless beats Xia Brookside with Ash by Elegance own Ratified Air. And I like how backstage, Heather was like, "Oh, did you see what I did? I did the Ratified Air." And they're going to give her a makeover, an elegant makeover, because the concierge tells her that she's missing some elegance. So I really like this. I cannot wait to see her makeover. And like you said, hopefully they become Reckless Elegance. And now we're finally getting a new knockout tag team.
They alluded to that. I like how I like how I think they almost they said one of the words they were almost because then they say you're reckless, and that what they said to her. So it's almost like they're gonna put those two words together. You know what I mean? It's almost like you put the doctor and the Acula together, and you drop the period and you bring them together. It's Dracula. You know what I mean? Like we need this team. We need these shirts. We need this to be a team. Not only for the fact that we need a division, we just need we need it. It makes sense. And I like how Iceman's like, you have something. There's something there. You know what I mean? That was funny.
Mm-hmm. Just as we can use more teams in TNA to go after Spitfire, we do need more teams. We've talked about this before. They lost too many teams before they were able to replace the teams that they lost. It's unfortunate, people leave, people come and go. But I'm liking this, and I hope that they do win the Knockout Tag titles.
We talked about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it should have been done all along. It's not her fault that she ultimately had to be put in a position where she was forced into, because really we talk about she didn't beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden she's number one contender. Again, it's not like it's not like somebody coming. She's not, for example, Nick Nemeth, who comes over with a lot of credentials. Didn't do anything really in WWE. I think she was a 24/7 champion. Other than that, she was just bounced around with being in different kind of factions and groups. She should have been in a tag team all along. And I can't wait. Let's give this a year, because I guarantee you, if she sticks in TNA in a year, if she gets another world title shot, not only will it make sense, nobody will complain about it, including us. And, you know what I mean? Including us.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you said. I like her character, Ash by Elegance. Unfortunately, much to her misfortune, she was pushed too quickly into the world title scene. Again, that's because, as you mentioned before, a lack of challengers for Jordynne Grace. So it's not her fault. But I do think she should have gone after the tag titles, then make her way up to the world title scene, the Knockouts World title scene. But this is great. I definitely do see her becoming knockout champion as well if she sticks around. And people, us included, won't complain about her having knockouts title match. All right, last but certainly not least, we didn't talk about it earlier, but Joe Hendry did cut a promo on Frankie Kazarian. He called him the winner of the Antonio Banderas lookalike contest, the dad from Spy Kids and Puss and Boots. This was hilarious. Joe Hendry is incredible. And I like the fact that commentary was just like, was talking about the sunglasses. This is great.
In terms of somebody who can make insults on the fly, like marketable insults that the crowd's going to cheer, Joe Hendry's like a better LA Knight. You know what I mean? Like, they kind of remind me similar in that, like, you know, like off the cuff, how they can come up with things like that. But yeah, that was just so funny, him calling him Puss in Boots. And the crowd, like, it's very easily for him to say something. He's very good at saying something and getting the crowd to cheer it immediately. He's done that. Like, again, I still laughed at him calling him Walking Wiener. That's like one of the funniest things I've ever heard, him calling Josh Alexander the Walking Wiener. Like, that was very funny. Like, Joe Hendry's so funny.
He is hilarious. We left tonight with 2 matches for Bound for Glory, Nick versus Joe, also Seth Delander, Once Monsters Ball, Digital Media. Okay. Yeah, we did. We got 2 matches so far. But overall, this was a great show. I don't have any complaints about this show at all. This show was a fantastic show, top to bottom.
I like how he said that, because I'm already kind of predicting a couple of matches now. So we have 2.
Yeah.
Let's say we're gonna get Sinner and Saint versus Macklin and Eric Young.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being a match. Obviously, I think we're gonna get the Hardys versus the System. I think you know what I mean. I could assume maybe. I would hope that it's Spitfire not versus Alicia and Tasha. I hope it's Spitfire versus Ash and Heather. So yeah, I think this show with 2 matches being official, they planted the seeds for a lot of matches. Because they're in 4 weeks, but you know what I mean. You know, I think there's a lot of stuff that they've planted the seeds for.
I definitely do agree. All right, Brett, as we get ready to sign off, where can people find you?
Just on Exit Bro Mac on 11.
All right, you guys can follow me on Twitter at @TheTell_. I talk all things wrestling, WWE, AEW, TNA. You can check me out at my YouTube channel, Rangers of Wrestling. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, occasional Saturdays and Sundays. And for all things TNA, you can catch us here every Thursday on Body Slam. All right, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go. Well, I'll say whenever we go live or whenever Body Slam releases a new video. And we'll see you guys next week as we are on the road to Bound for Glory. Bye.